Hello everyone, I'm back and today we are building a Moroccan Riad inspired mansion. And I just fancied building one of these this week because I just felt like, obviously we got the kit pack this is like a kit pack ages and ages ago now, but the one, I think it's called like Oasis Courtyard. But it's basically the one that's very like Moroccan inspired. And I feel like when that pack came out, I made a Riad, obviously like everyone did. And yeah, since then I just haven't built one. I think it's nice to just build different things, especially different styles. So I thought, yeah, that's what we're going to do this week. Probably because as well, last week was like really, really, really hot where we are anyway. And yeah, it just makes you kind of like, in my mind, I was like super hot. So I want to build somewhere that looks really warm and something that I feel like is in a very warm climate. So yeah, I think just a combination of the two, I just thought, yeah, that's what we're going to do this week. And I actually, I didn't intend this to be a mansion. When I first started building this, I actually was building it on the what's his name? It's like called Zest. I can't remember his first name. But the one that has that lives in that lot that's just like, it's quite a big lot in Oasis Springs, but his home is like really, really small. And yeah, I started building on there and I was building and then I realised, yeah, this it's not actually, although it's a big lot in a way, like what I want to build is just not going to fit here. Like it just looked a bit squashed, you know? I feel like a bigger build works when there's like, well, in this case anyway, where there's like more space around it. It just kind of felt cramped. And also I felt like it was just getting bigger and bigger when I was building it. And all the houses around were like really small. So just kind of like really wasn't working. And there's actually, it's weird. Oasis Springs obviously is like that kind of like deserty vibe. But actually a lot of the lots are on grass. Because obviously there's some lots on grass and some lots on like, well, they're like sand. But yeah, I feel like there's actually not many on sand, even though they are like on the map, you know, like on the world map. But then when you go on them, they're on grass. But anyway, so I actually ended up building this on the big lot up at the top where the land grabbers live. But this is definitely not built for them. Like they don't deserve a house like this, right? So, but yeah, that's the lot I'm building on because it's really big, like I say, and because obviously this is a different style build to what is already around in this world. Where I'm building, like it doesn't stand out so much because you can't see any of the other buildings. Obviously, sometimes you'll see one when I pan out and you can see the house on the opposite side of the street. But yeah, that's not often. So yeah, I thought it looked quite nice, sort of like with the rocks and things, and you can see like the big kind of mountains behind in the far, far distance. So I just thought it kind of fitted nicely in there, really. But yeah, like I said, I really wasn't going into this like in my mind building a mansion or like a big house. Basically, it's got 4 bedrooms. Technically, it could be 5. There's a big office / study type room downstairs, which could easily be another bedroom if you wanted it to be. But all the rooms are just really, really big, and it also has 2 courtyards. One which is like more of a like, I don't know, it's got like a little sort of fountain water area, which your Sims will try and swim in. Because that's what they do, right? When there's really small bit of pool you put down and they try and swim, it's always kind of funny. But they can swim in there. I guess you'd just kind of float in there, wouldn't you, really? But anyway. And then another courtyard, which is, I kind of wanted to create a garden. So like, obviously it's still within walls, but it's like grass and has loads and loads of plants. I just thought it'd be really nice sort of as a contrast, because obviously it's not like really, really green here. And I thought it'd be nice for them to have somewhere sort of like private that has lots of like, you know, plants. And I feel like it would feel very refreshing and cooling, you know? So yeah, and then obviously besides that, we have the usual lounge, kitchen, and up on the top, there's also like a kind of, I won't call it like a snug, because I feel like when I was building this, a lot of the rooms, because they're so big and it's quite grand in a way, you kind of, I don't know, I find like I don't want to make somewhere cozy. Like it doesn't work. Because if a room is so big, I feel like it can never really feel cozy. And I wanted a cozy space, so there was a little bit of that on the roof terrace. But yeah, so big build today. Really long one. So I hope that's okay. We'll see how we go. But I really, really enjoyed building this, like I say, because I think building something like in a different style to what maybe you normally do is also fun. It's also like a bit challenging because, yeah, you've got to kind of try out different things and see what they look like, you know? But yeah, and also, as usual, the majority of this build is, well, I don't know if it's the majority, it probably is. It feels like the majority of this video will be the exterior and building it, because I feel like I started off building and obviously focusing on the facade, and then kind of as you work backward, you start obviously adding in like different balconies, like different windows for like the side of the house and the back of the house. And I kind of continue to do that throughout, because sort of once you get the floor plan, I was sort of deciding actually where windows need to be and things like that, and where actually a walkway would be. So I chop and change a few times and add like different, like some of the balconies grow, things like that. So yeah, it's definitely like a work in progress, it's just like a continuous process of building and adding bits and things like that. So yeah, and you'll see as well, I start off this build flat, so like not on foundations or anything, and halfway through, well, not halfway through, but like I think when I'm doing the kind of front garden and like driveway space, I end up pulling half it up on a foundation. So obviously at the moment it's all kind of like flat to the ground, but I thought it'd be quite nice to be a bit higher, because then I feel like they can see properly up and over the like rocks behind and off the cliff. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's been hot, hasn't it? Well, yeah, it's been hot. And I feel like the heat in the UK is always different to heat in like when I've been in other countries, for example, which are like hot, like in general terms, hotter countries. Like it just never feels as muggy and like sticky as it does in the UK. I don't know why. But yeah, so it's just been very, very hot. But actually the past few days it started to cool down anywhere I am, which is like really, really welcome, to be honest. Because yeah, it's just, it can get a lot, can't it? Like just kind of builds up. You just want to like have a little bit of a breather. And it's that whole thing of like, you can't keep, it's hard to like have your house cool down, like when it's hot outside, but then it's like hotter inside. That's when it's hot. And I do the whole shut all the blinds, keep the sun out and things, but sometimes it's just, yeah, you just can't get rid of it, basically. Our houses were just not built for heat, really, were they? And I know that it's probably going to get hotter at some point, because it's not like it will probably get hotter again some point during summer, but for now we're having a few days of not quite as hot weather, which is always nice. And I always find like, because for me personally, I don't think I've ever said this on my channel, but I have quite bad eczema, and the heat/sun is like one of those weird things where I think sometimes like a little bit of sun, obviously with sun cream and everything, can help my eczema, but heat on the other hand, like combined with it, can make it like, obviously you get very like sweaty, and that can make you more itchy. So it's like a fine balance. But like generally in the summer, my eczema is normally better than it is in the winter, because obviously in the winter it's very cold, so it's very drying. But no, mine's like very bad at the moment, so it'd be nice for it to be a bit cooler, because I'm hoping like, yeah, it just won't be as like itchy, you know? But yeah, it's a weird one. You can kind of go one of two ways, really. I think it's different for obviously a lot of different people, depending on like what your skin is like. But yeah, it'd just be nice for it to just be a bit cooler for a few days, you know? But yeah, so you can see now that I am marking out, or like, you know, creating my sort of front garden and driveway moment. And you'll see I pulled up half, so sort of like the half where you would walk into the main entrance up on a platform, because I just thought it was quite cool having a kind of steps up to the house. I don't know, I kind of wanted to add that in, and I felt like it was too flat before, so that's what we did. But I also then wanted the like cars to obviously just be able to like drive in off the road into the like driveway. So I kept that low, and I think it works quite well. I thought it was quite like, I don't know, just sort of adds a different kind of dimension, so it's just not looking so flat, you know? So obviously it's quite like boxy, like everything is like quite straight lines, like the actual building itself. So yeah, I thought like that just kind of like just adds some dimensions, you know? And I really had fun with these tiles. It sounds really sad, but like, because obviously when you press like Control F on the keyboard, you can just like place a quarter tile of like a floor tile. And yeah, so you can like, I mean, people can probably do it a lot quicker than me because I like scroll through all the different ones just to check I'm doing the right one, you know? So you can create like a line around any shape you want. Apart from like diagonal, it's quite hard. If there's like a diagonal like line instead of a straight one, that's like a bit harder to do. You can kind of end up, you don't have like the full like trim line, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I really enjoy that, because I think it really, especially on tiles, when it has the option to do that, I just, honestly, it's just like great because it just like finishes it off, you know, it gives it like a trim. So yeah, I did enjoy that. But yeah, so what I also really wanted to do, because like I said earlier, obviously this area, or like Oasis Springs in general, well, not in general, because we've already said that actually there's a lot of greenery in some of the lots, but these particular lots, or the more desert lots, there's like obviously a lot less greenery. And I just think it's so nice putting like patches of it, because it just like, it's such a big contrast in this world, having like suddenly grass and like loads of plants and things. So I wanted to kind of add in just sort of like bits here and there. And I actually used a lot of the plants from Jungle Adventure, because I know that obviously it's kind of like a very different part of the world it's based on, but I just think it's just so luscious looking. And I didn't kind of want like, obviously in Oasis Springs there's a lot of cactuses, because obviously it's based more on like parts of American deserts. And I just felt like I wanted more like luscious plants, if you know what I mean. Obviously I don't know how realistic that is, but I just think it really pop against the kind of like sandy stone colours of the rest of the build. So yeah, so I used a lot of from that pack especially, and then just kind of like mix it in with some base game ones as well, to just create some nice luscious looking plants, like the really green ones, you know. So you see, I attempted to put a few cactuses down. You may have seen, if you have a, like, if you're looking very closely, you might have noticed that I tried placing some of the cactuses down just to see what they look like, just to see if it would work. Because it's hard, right? Because it's kind of like a balance. Like, I feel like want this to look, obviously, like, in my mind, like I'm inspired by a Riad, right? Because obviously I've never been to one or seen one in real life, so I always feel a bit like nervous you know, because I don't exactly know what plants would be around one, if you know what I mean. Like, I can only take what I see from images. So that's the kind of vibe I was going for. But equally, I find obviously when you're building The Sims, you kind of want it to blend in as well to the world that you're in. So yeah, like, it's a bit difficult because really I should have put some cactus and things, but that's just not what I was going for. But that's obviously what there is in Oasis Springs. But obviously there's a lot of palm trees as well, so that kind of works. But you can't see too many cactuses from this lot. So yeah, I think it's okay. I hope it's okay. Anyway. But yeah, I have just been rambling, guys. Like, rambling for the first few minutes of this video about, well, things like cactuses. I mean, really. Anyway, so I've just not even, like, asked how you guys are. How is it going? How has your week been? I've been an interesting one. Obviously, we had the heat, but it's cooling down now, so we're feeling good about that. But yeah, definitely, like I said in my previous video, obviously, I have moved in with my parents for a little while we're having some work done to our house. And I think I was quite, like, upbeat and excited last video because everything was very novel, right? Even the supermarkets. And to be honest, that could have also been because of the heat. Like, I think I even said I felt like I was on holiday, and now I'm just feeling like it probably was just heavily influenced by the heat. Like, yeah, that novelty has worn off now. It didn't last long. Yeah, I'm like ready to go back now. I'm ready to get back home. But yeah, I'm not sure when that's going to be yet. So I'm still sat on the floor recording this, but I'm sat on a different floor. I'm actually sat on the floor of my room. That's also a lie. I'm sat on the floor of the room I am sleeping in, or staying in, because my room doesn't really exist anymore, as in, like, the room that used to be mine when I was younger just doesn't really exist. I think that happens a lot, right? When you move away as you get older, your parents end up changing your room into something else or just using it for something else. So yeah, my room doesn't really exist anymore. So I'm in a different room, but I'm not in my brother's room. Yeah, so yeah, and actually, do you know what I'm feeling? It's quite like, I'm feeling very, like, comfy. You know what I mean? Like, rather than, like, sat at a desk all the time, which is how I'd normally do it if I was, like, back home to do a recording. But yeah, it's quite, like, I don't know, it makes me feel very, like, relaxed, just sitting on the floor instead of being, like, all sat up straight at a desk, you know? But yeah, so that has been what it's been like here. But yeah, I hope everyone's having a good week. And yeah. So I would say we're finally going on the inside, but I do fear that, like I said, like, we do go in and out a few times, you know? So I think the main kind of, like, thing in my head that I knew we needed to do when we were making this build was the courtyards. So I wanted to map them out first. And I have this thing where, I mean, I've only ever made one Riad before this, and it was much smaller than this one. It's not on YouTube or anything. This is, like, before I, like, did YouTube. But it's on my gallery. But yeah, it's, like, much smaller than this one. And I remember when I built it and I, like, mapped out where the courtyard was going to be, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. This is, like, a huge space. Because obviously, like, a big rectangle looks, I mean, like, it looks quite big, right? But then when I started, like, filling it in, because I think it's always nice to have, like, a kind of water fountain in the middle of it, I was like, wow, there's actually really not much space for anything else here. I think I managed to, like, put some seats and things, but I was like, okay, when I make one again, I'm going to make it much bigger. So then I was mapping out this house and I put where the courtyard was going to be, and I was like, oh yeah, great, this is huge. But I, like, looking at it again now, like, it's not. Like, you'd have like to have, like, a really, really big space, because I imagine they spend a lot of time in these spaces, like, properly outside spaces, obviously with no ceiling, because I would imagine that a lot of the rooms would have really big windows to, like, let the air in and things. But especially these, which the courtyard spaces, which literally obviously have no roof or ceiling, so it is literally outside. I feel like they'd use it a lot. So obviously I wanted a lot of seating, you know, for like if there's a big family, or, you know, like the way they kind of all want to go and sit outside together. But yeah, so I feel like it could have been bigger. It like is fine, obviously, and I do get a lot of seating out there, but yeah, I don't know, I feel like it could have been bigger, you know? But then the house would have been even bigger. But anyway, it's just so big. And then, so yes, the sort of central one is the one where, like I said, has the fountain and the sitting area. And then this one that I'm doing now is the sort of garden one, so with the grass and lots of plants, which I thought was a really nice addition. It also has a bit of water because, like, I don't know, I think that's quite nice to have. I think it just works. I think this having the sound of water as well, like where you are, can make you feel much cooler as well. So yeah, I think it's nice to have that. But yeah, but you'll see that I continue to like fiddle around with bits, and I did crop a few bits because, I mean, I'm sure we all know by now that when you're building in The Sims and you're using a lot of columns and you're using half walls and you're using I can't remember what they're called right now, but so obviously like the freezes and the trims and is it the trims? I literally can't remember what they're called. The bits that like you'd put in between the pillars, you know, like and then you can like make them curve into it, if you know what I mean, to make like archways almost looking like, you know, if you change one half wall, it can like delete the wallpaper from like the whole house sometimes. I feel like it's honestly so bizarre. It's so bizarre. So yeah, there's a few times where I literally had to do things multiple times because like I do one tiny thing and then like the whole thing just deletes. So yeah, a little bit of back and forth with that. Especially the freezers outside, like they're like, who knows how they work really, because it's honestly so bizarre. But yeah, so if you see me faffing and fiddling, that's why. Also, I can't believe like we're so far into this video and I haven't even brought it up yet, but obviously we had the announcement of the new expansion pack last week, which it was, I mean, I know it's like a week ago now, so it's like kind of old news, but I haven't posted since it was like officially released. I know that like before it was officially released, there was like it was kind of like leaked, wasn't it, I think, and a lot of like people were talking about it and speculating about it, about how it was going to be and things, but now obviously it's officially been announced. And yeah, I mean, look, it's great we're gonna get horses. Like, I think that's a great addition to obviously like having farms and like all the other kind of animals we have. And yeah, but I don't know how I feel about the pack in general, like to be a whole expansion pack. I don't know what the like elements are going to be to it, and obviously it's great. I mean, I love having a new expansion pack because obviously we get a new world to build in, which is always fun. But yeah, I don't know how I'm feeling about it in general. I haven't obviously I watched the trailer and things, but I didn't see anything that was like, whoa. You know what I mean? Obviously apart from like literally the horses and the lambs and things. But like in terms of like, I don't know, I find like I try and look at like the build buy items, which I know to some is probably like, that's like really boring. Like they're giving us horses and I'm like, ooh, what items are there? But you know, that's just how my brain works. But yeah, I kind of was looking at the buildings in the background and things of the trailer and looking at the items, and I just felt like I didn't see any that I was like, ooh, that's going to be great, you know? I think there was like some wooden beamy things I saw which looked quite cool. So like they kind of are like logs, so it looks like, you know, you can make like a lodge. If you imagine like a wooden lodge that's made of like logs of wood, and then you might have like those bits that stick out at the end. I don't know, it's kind of like I think it's like a trim or something like this. Anyway, that looked quite interesting. But yeah, I didn't see anything else that was like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing, you know? And I think I don't know much about kind of like ranches and things, if you know what I mean. So yeah, but it'll be really interesting because, like I say, I like to. It's nice to have different worlds, you know, like not all the same and things, and having like different, like, I don't know, just different vibes, you know. So it'll be interesting, I'm sure. I was just like, felt a bit disappointed personally, but I know, like, obviously the horses is the main thing, and obviously that's very exciting. So yeah, so we'll go with the horses, you know. But yeah, so I am now actually inside now. For real this time, guys. We have gone inside. And the kind of main room at the front with these big, like, open bay windows is like a very formal sitting room. So as I was saying earlier, like, I was building this sitting room and I knew I couldn't really put a TV in here. It just didn't feel right. It just feels like somewhere where you'd come, and because I see, like, the room is huge. I mean, all of the rooms in this house are very big. And I feel like you just come in here, might read a book, sit by the, like, open window, because obviously there's, like, the water outside. And maybe, like, when you have visitors over, you'd sit in there. So I just feel like it wouldn't be a space where you would go and sit and watch TV, if you know what I mean. And I also, when I first started building this lot, I wasn't really sure who lived in here, you know, and I didn't know if, you know, all the bedrooms were just going to kind of be set up as guest bedrooms, if you know what I mean. Because I feel like, I don't know, I always feel like I kind of have to build to fit the style, and I kind of don't want to make it too, I don't know, just like not, like I just want it to work, you know what I mean? I don't want to just end up building, like, for example, a children's bedroom, which I would put in, like, a house that's like, I don't know, like a suburban house or something. Do you know what I mean? Like an American suburban house or something. So yeah, I wasn't really sure, but I do end up making a child's bedroom. And to be honest, it probably is quite, it's probably just like most child bedrooms. But anyway, and then I felt like, and that's why I kind of, because I'd obviously made the lounge already, and I felt like there would need to be some kind of chill out space, like more cozy, watch TV, maybe play a board game type room in. So that's why we put one on the roof. But yeah, so don't panic, there was a TV. And then this room here is a dining room. I do end up changing the chairs because it's just looking a little too, I don't know, it wasn't working for me. What I really wanted to do was put a table where you sit like on the floor. And I was going to use, because obviously we have the tables from the Snowy Escape pack, which is obviously Japanese inspired, and they have the tables on the floor and they sit at them, and you normally put the kind of like food, I can't remember what it's called right now, but the like little cooker on it as well. I did not nearly use that, but I just felt like, I don't know, like, because obviously that's Japanese inspired, I don't know, I just felt like I couldn't use it. Anyway, I probably could have. But so instead I just use a normal, obviously, like functional table and chairs in that dining space. But then I do put out a couple of, I sort of make some myself, some like lower tables with cushions to sit at. Now obviously, like for outside dining, now obviously they don't function like that because I use a coffee table and like stool, like the cushion stools that I think came with maybe City Living. They're really fun, you know, they've got different colours. I use them like throughout this build, so, and yeah, so it kind of looks like that's where you could sit at a table on the floor, or like a low table on cushions. But yeah, obviously they don't actually function like that because of The Sims. But yeah, and then we're now working on like the kitchen, and I actually really enjoyed making this kitchen because when I was looking at reference images, I saw a lot of kitchens had a lot of wooden open shelving, which I thought was really cool, instead of using like the cabinets, you know, and not just using like shelves, but like actually kind of like this built-in like wooden shelving, if you know what I mean. So like not open shelves, but having them like enclosed but still shelves. Who knew there was so much dimension to shelves? Anyway, and yeah, so yeah, I thought it was quite fun, like using like the really heavy wood, but then obviously with the like the tiles, you know. I don't know, I really enjoyed that. And I always try to kind of use different items and things, because I feel like you can have a tendency to, obviously, if you like a certain style, or there's certain items you really like using in The Sims, you can kind of tend to make rooms that are very, very similar to other ones you've made. Now, obviously, you're always going to make similar things because there's like a limited like of what you can use in The Sims. So it's always nice to try and use different things sometimes, just to like, you know, mix up what you can do. But yeah, you might also notice that obviously when you come into the main entrance of this house, it's like 2 platforms up, and then I kept that in the kind of like hallway, or like the sort of wraparound bit that goes where you can walk around the courtyard and go into all the different rooms off of it. But I then had all the rooms then stepped down into, because I wanted them to be able to just walk straight outside and not be on a platform, if you see what I mean. And also, obviously, I wanted to be able to step down into the courtyard, because I think it's nice having those steps in. So a lot of the entrances to each room are a little bit different, depending on like the shape of the room and things, like how I do the platforms down. So I don't want to just kind of like just be all the same, if you know what I mean. So yeah, you might notice that and I quite like the one into the kitchen, because you kind of, so you step down once, and then there's like the entrance into the utility space. So the utility space is like 1 platform up, and then you can step down again into the actual kitchen. I don't know, I enjoyed that. It's always nice like having different levels, so it's not all just like the same level, if you know what I mean. And there is actually some rooms that I have cropped from this video, because this is a super, super long video, and yeah, it was like even longer than this, obviously with everything in, but it's just like bathrooms. So I keep in basically the main big bathroom, and I take out all the other ones. So there is a little bathroom on the ground floor, which is just obviously a toilet and sink, which is actually next to the utility room, but comes off the hallway, if that makes sense, or like the walkway. And then there are 2 bedrooms on the ground floor, which have ensuite bathrooms. And then there's like the master bedroom on the 2nd floor, or 1st floor, however you want to call it. I always find that really hard to say, because I always think of like the ground floor, like there's like just, yeah, the ground floor, and then, but then it's like upstairs is the 2nd floor. But then I know that some people say ground floor then 1st floor. I mean, I'm just like skipping a floor, aren't I, if I'm saying ground floor then 2nd floor. But I just think it's like, I don't know, 1st floor, but then the 1st floor also could sound like the 1st floor, so like the ground floor. Anyway, upstairs is like the master suite, which has an ensuite as well. So yeah, so there's like many bathrooms, but I've only actually left in like the big main one. They all have like a similar vibe, you know. And then another room that I've taken out is actually one of the downstairs bedrooms as well, because the 2 downstairs bedrooms in my mind were like guest bedrooms, or just set up. Yeah, like just not very, no one in specific in mind. One of them is slightly more stylized, that perhaps a teenager might have as their bedroom. But yeah, so I leave in the one that's much more grand. And then upstairs we have another 2 bedrooms, which you'll see. So yes. So what I'm working on at the moment is the sort of study office type space. And obviously, I mean, I'm still obsessed with these bookshelves, as you've probably noticed, because, I mean, I've even used them in the kitchen, right? The empty ones as the shelves. But yeah, from the like Book Nook kit pack. And yeah, so I just create these like walls of bookshelves, which I thought was really fun. So I just feel like whoever owns this house obviously has a lot of money, and so they probably have quite a good job, and maybe a job where a lot of reading was involved, maybe like a lawyer or something, I'm not sure, or doctor, so they have like a lot of books on a lot of subjects. So yeah, I just feel like it's somewhere they could go and obviously do their work, but also have, if they have maybe perhaps clients or people they work with come round, there's some like seating in there as well, so maybe they can like do some work together. I don't know. It's also like a very, very big room, which could be, I mean, it could be like another sitting room, a more like casual one if you wanted, or another bedroom, like I said earlier. You could easily make it another bedroom because it's huge. But yeah, so you can do what you want with it, really. And then you'll see I've just done the like garden courtyard. So it's like very luscious, and I put a like easel out there because I feel like it'd be a nice space to paint as well. But yeah, very luscious and relaxing in a different way, you know. You kind of, there's two options. You can have a sort of garden one, or you can go in the more just like tiled one, depending on what your mood is, you know. And then this bedroom here that we're doing now is, like I say, I feel like it's a guest bedroom. I did nearly make this the master suite because it is very, very grand. So you'll see the bed is up on a platform, and it's got like open, I mean, it's not actually technically windows because it's pillars all the way around the room. So it's like completely open. So I just feel like it'd just be so hot. It just needs to be open. So yeah, it's very grand. And it does have an ensuite, like I say. It's sort of off to the left of the screen right now. So you come through the door and the ensuite is like to your right, and then you keep walking down to the bedroom area. So you might be able to see in some of the shots. But yeah, so because I kind of feel like it's for guests, or it's not for any like a particular sim in mind. So it's very depersonalized. Just has what you would need if you were staying for a few days or whatever. But yeah, I think, like I said, I really liked this room, like how grand it was. I did really nearly make it the master suite, but I really wanted the master suite to have a walk-in wardrobe of some kind, and I just felt like it wasn't going to fit in this space because it's a very square space, and I just kind of wanted like this centerpiece of the bed. So yeah, so I ended up putting the master suite upstairs, even though I actually think it might be smaller than this room, like the bedroom space, if that makes sense. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, I still have like a grand bed moment up on platform, so they still have that vibe as well. So it's still like definitely the master suite, you know? I'm also still really obsessed with the sofas. Those sofas that I'm using, which don't they look so comfy? Like, I know I'm using them in like every build recently, but they just look so nice. I think they really fit with this vibe as well. I think because it's kind of like a wood back, isn't it? And then like the cushions, I don't know, I just feel like that works quite well. I know obviously this pack, or like the Oasis courtyard pack, comes with like specific sofas, and I do also use those throughout as well. I think kind of in the main sitting area and the study office room. But to me, they're like very formal. I don't know why, like, because I think they're just the shape of them and things. And I feel like these sofas that I kind of use in the more casual areas, you know, look like they're very comfy and a bit softer, you know. But yeah, but you'll see I put outside the kitchen, again, another table they can sit at to eat functionally. And then what I was saying earlier about having a coffee table and then the like cushion stools they can sit at. Now, obviously they can sit on those cushion stools, but they can't sit at the table and like eat, you know? So you can still kind of have that idea of like them sitting there and they can be chatting and things, having a drink, but they're not going to sit at the table, you know? But it's quite a fun idea. And then this is the main bathroom that we're doing upstairs, and you may have noticed that there are 2 toilets in here, and I do this in another one of the en-suites as well. And when I did it, I was like, this is kind of strange, because especially for this room, because obviously it's like the main bathroom, so like family bathroom. So for example, obviously anyone who doesn't have an ensuite, or for whatever reason doesn't want to use the ensuite, I don't know, maybe like in the middle of the day, if they're like near this toilet, they'll use this one. And yeah, so like I can't really imagine in what scenario like two people would sit to go to the toilet like at the same time, like why they would want to. But anyway, it was such a big room that I kind of wanted it to be like a bit like over the top grand, if you know what I mean. And I feel like that's something that there would be, even though like in real terms it might not be like really realistic that both those toilets would be used. And then it's like, would you have a favourite one? You know, like if you went to that toilet, was there like, would you only use one of them? Or would you like mix it up each time? I don't know. It's an interesting one. Then obviously there's 2 showers in there as well, which again, interesting choice. But I just think, you know, it looks like really grand. So it fits with like the size of this house to have like such a crazy bathroom like that. And it kind of compensates for like, I don't know, in my mind. I think when I was doing it, I was like, I don't know why at the time it made me think of the lot in Del Sol Valley, which has no toilets. And I think I was like, let's just do the reverse of this and have lots of toilets. I don't know why. I thought it was funny at the time. Anyway, it's not that funny. But yeah, so yeah, it did make me chuckle. And that is a world that I really should build in one day on the channel, because I don't think I've built there. Have I? Have I? And yeah, I mean, it's like really cool. I think it's really cool. I think it's really sad how few lots there are, like, that you can build on. Because I do really enjoy it as a world. And I think because I really enjoy the, like, residential lots that are down, like, not like the mansion up on the hill ones, if you know what I mean. But, like, some of them are just huge. Like, the lots are, like, huge. But the houses that would kind of fit there, like it doesn't really work. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think because I would want to build something to fit in with the rest of the road, and I just feel like we're given such a big lot that you kind of have to build multiple houses, which is something we could do. I do enjoy building like multiple things on one lot. You know what I mean? That's always quite fun, actually. But yeah, so yeah, we will have to build there one day. And then what we're doing right now, back to the build, is the master suite, like I said. So, I mean, it's still a pretty big room, obviously, and it's got that, like, balcony outside, which is nice. But I just wanted, like, a big wardrobe space for them. So I just feel like that's what they would have compared to, like, the bedroom downstairs. And then you'll see, obviously, next to the walk-in wardrobe, there will be an ensuite. Oh, look, it just like appear because, like I said, I didn't leave that part of the recording in the video just because I just thought, I mean, you don't want to see, like, I mean, maybe you do, I don't know, but I felt like if there's anything to take out just to make the video slightly shorter, it's the bathrooms, because they're just not, like, obviously, like I said, you can make their interesting bathrooms. Like, I tried to make an interesting bathroom in the really big main one, but, like, in general terms, if there's, like, 4 or 5 bathrooms on a lot, they're going to be quite repetitive, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, but you can kind of see it in the background, like, it appears that there's, like, a bath in there and things. So, yeah, it's a really nice space. And it's nice, obviously, that it has having the bed on the platform. I think that's a really fun idea. And then up at the top here, which you go up some steps from the inside to the outside, if that makes sense. And yeah, there's just like this, it's kind of like a cinema room, really. Like, it was quite fun. And I put some of the, like, items that are like board games, if you know what I mean, up on the shelves as well. Just to, like I said, I just feel like it's somewhere where it's just a bit more cozy and fun, and yeah, where you'd maybe do some family games nights or something. I don't know, you know what I mean? And then I put outside another of these kind of like low down tables with cushions, if you know what I mean. So I feel like it's somewhere where you'd probably sit outside as well, like go on the terrace, like the roof terrace, and either go inside or sit out here and just chill, you know. So yeah, so that's what we did. I also put some greenery out here because I did feel like it was quite, like, I don't know, just needed a bit of lusciousness. And I do also really like that you do see a glimpse down, so you can see while I'm like building and spinning around and things, you get a glimpse down into the courtyard, which I think it's really cool, like how it looks from above, because you can see like all round the kind of different rooms and things, you know what I mean? But anyway, we have made it, guys. We have come to the end, so I will leave you with some screenshots and see you in the next one. Bye. Bye.